After the stillbirth of our son, a baby we had waited for with bated breath, my husband, Ethan Grant, bought me the Citadel Tower. He did it live on national television, his face a perfect mask of sincerity. "Our child may not be with us," he said, his voice thick with emotion as he stared into the camera, "but my love for my wife will never change. This building is just a thing. It's nothing compared to her." The city erupted. Overnight he became the most devoted husband in the country, a sensitive, love-struck billionaire, the man every woman dreamed of. Everyone believed he loved me to the point of madness. But they didn't know. They didn't know that the night before his grand declaration of love, he was wrapped in the arms of another woman, lost in a haze of ecstasy. They didn't know that the penthouse office of the tower he bought for me was already christened with the marks of his affair. And they certainly didn't know that on the day I was in the hospital, undergoing the brutal procedure to induce the birth of our lifeless child, he was whispering those 3 hollow words to someone else: "Have my baby." My heart, once a vessel of love, had turned to ash. I scrolled through my contacts, my thumb hovering over a number buried deep in the list, a ghost from a past life. I pressed call. "Julian," I choked out, tears blurring my vision. "Please, get me out of here." On the television screen in my private hospital room, Ethan's performance continued. His voice was earnest, unwavering. "My wife endured unimaginable pain to bring our child into this world. Buying this tower is the least I can do. A pathetic attempt to mend a fraction of her suffering." Behind him, workers were hoisting a massive, gleaming sign into place on the building's facade. 2 words forged in brilliant chrome: "Evermore." Through the screen, I could hear the gasps of awe from the reporters. Truly the husband of the century. A man this devoted is 1 in a billion. Mrs. Grant is the luckiest woman alive. Ethan lowered his head, a blush of perfect humility creeping up his neck, a detail the camera captured with loving precision. "The value my wife brings to my life can't be measured in money. No gift, no matter how extravagant, could ever compare to a single moment of her tenderness." The room of reporters burst into applause. This fictional, spectacular love had reached its crescendo. My phone, lying on the bedside table, was still playing the video I'd received from an anonymous source. On the small screen, a man and a woman were a tangle of limbs, their bodies moving in a frantic rhythm. He held the woman, her face a mask of dazed pleasure, and whispered into her ear, his voice a low, intimate growl. "Chloe," he murmured, "I love you. I will always love you." I looked up. The same face was on the television, now looking at the camera with grim determination. "If anything ever happened to my wife," Ethan declared, "I would follow her without a moment's hesitation." My weary brain swam in a fog of confusion. What was real? What was fake? The lines had blurred into an indistinguishable mess. A nurse tiptoed into the room. I instinctively snapped my phone shut. The television was still on, and the nurse's face was alight with a fawning smile. "Mrs. Grant, with a man like that, the pain must be a little easier to bear, right? The whole world envies you," she gushed. "You just focus on getting better. You're still young, you can try for another one. A prize catch like Mr. Grant, you have to hold on tight." I closed my eyes and said nothing. Sensing my mood, she fell silent and quietly left the room. Only then did a slow, hot tear finally escape and trace a path down my cheek. The world was convinced Ethan Grant worshipped me. His social media background was a photo of me. His phone's wallpaper was me. His profile picture was me. In every interview, in any context, he would find a way to mention me. Someone once joked, "Mr. Grant, have the words 'my wife' become your personal catchphrase?" He had simply smiled. A man who loves his wife finds his fortune rises. All my success I owe to her. She's my good luck charm. Amidst the thunderous applause that followed, I too was thrust into the spotlight. But unlike Ethan, the public gave me a different kind of label. The tabloids, after digging up my orphan past, called me the billion-dollar womb. They wrote of my fairy tale luck, but their envy was laced with sharp, cruel barbs. Everyone believed I should be grateful, that I should count my blessings for his all-consuming love. He was young, handsome, powerful, and a universally acknowledged romantic. For years I had been blinded by his performance too. I truly believed he loved me. But the truth was a bloodbath. The tears fell faster now, my hands trembling uncontrollably. In a haze of despair, I dialed the number I knew by heart. It connected almost instantly, but the other end was silent, waiting. "Julian," I sobbed, my voice breaking. "Please take me away." The quiet sobs erupted into a full-blown, gut-wrenching wail. I could hear his sharp intake of breath on the other end, the sound of his own carefully controlled composure shattering. "Send me your address. I'm coming for you right now." Before I could answer, my hospital room door was thrown open. I met Ethan's eyes and quickly ended the call. He rushed to my side, his face a canvas of concern. "Eleanor? What is it? Are you in pain?" His familiar woody cologne was there, but it was tainted by something else, a cloying sweet perfume that clung to him like a shroud. It was sickening. I pushed him away. A flicker of confusion crossed his face before he expertly concealed it. "I know I was wrong," he said, his voice soft and placating. "I shouldn't have left you alone to deal with that press conference. Forgive me, Eleanor. I was wrong." He gently rubbed my palm, his warm breath hitting my ear. Felt itchy, repulsive. A wave of nausea washed over me, and I retched, vomiting all over the front of his expensive suit. The foul, sticky mess clung to the fabric, but Ethan didn't even flinch. He just carefully patted my back, his face a mask of panic as he yelled for a doctor. I collapsed back onto the bed, limp and exhausted. Ethan knelt by my side, his eyes red-rimmed as he whispered, "The doctor is coming, don't be afraid. I'm right here. I'll always be right here." He wiped my mouth with his hand just as the doctor came in. He stood there looking helpless and disheveled, just as he had when I first met him all those years ago. He had looked so pitiful then, so innocent. I had just graduated from college after a bitter fight with my uncle Julian, who was 8 years my senior. He had accused me of harboring inappropriate feelings for him, and in a fit of rage and humiliation, I decided to leave him for good. On my first day of running away, I stumbled upon Ethan being cornered in an alley by a group of thugs. He was just a student then, all youthful defiance, refusing to give up his wallet. Full of my own unspent anger, I jumped into the fray. We both got beaten up and we both got our wallets stolen. But I felt a strange sense of exhilaration. Ethan had shielded me with his body, and I could feel the frantic, powerful thumping of his young heart against my back. After we gave our statements at the police station, I went with him back to his tiny basement apartment. He was hurt much worse than I was, but he insisted on cleaning the scrapes on my ankle first. In moments of extreme stress, the heart is a vulnerable thing. And back then I was desperate for a replacement, a new anchor for my affections. Ethan appeared at the perfect time. For the next 7 years he was my shadow. I watched him rise from poverty to power. I cut off all contact with my Uncle Julian and became Mrs. Grant, convinced I had found my soulmate. On our wedding day, he cried so hard he could barely speak, baring his heart for all to see. "She is my angel," he sobbed. "She gave me everything. I swear to cherish and protect her for all eternity. If I break this vow, may I be damned forever." That vow echoed in my mind until I saw the anonymous email. The video had been filmed from a damningly intimate angle, capturing the raw emotion on Ethan's face. The unrestrained desire poured from his eyes. The timestamp confirmed it. It was the night of my induction. As the cold metal forceps moved brutally inside me, I stared blankly at the ceiling. Piece by piece, the fragmented remains of my son were pulled from my body, my heart tearing with each movement until I could barely breathe. 7 months of nurturing him, feeling his kicks, dreaming of his arrival, all reduced to a sealed bag of medical waste. And at that very moment my husband, the man who swore to love me to death, was reaching the heights of passion with another woman. At the peak of his ecstasy, his voice hoarse, he had pleaded with her. "Chloe, have my baby." His eyes were glazed with lust, but his tone was undeniably sincere. In that one moment every vow became a lie. The truth was a revolving door of his desires, and I couldn't trust it anymore. The hashtag Ethan Grant Best Husband was trending at #1. The top post was a picture of me, moments after I had thrown up on him. I don't know how that photo leaked. In it I looked bloated and disheveled, my hair a mess, leaning against the impeccably dressed, handsome Ethan. The contrast was jarring. I was the discordant stain on a perfect picture. But his eyes held no disgust, only a profound, heart-wrenching sorrow. The comments poured in. "My husband complains when I have bladder leaks from childbirth. This is a whole other level. Where do you find a man like this? Oh my God," his eyes could melt glaciers. I guess you really don't have to be beautiful to be loved. Okay, but his wife looks like a total mess. She doesn't deserve him. Love really is blind. A true romantic. I raise my glass. Just then, Ethan walked in with a bowl of porridge. I sent a quick, encrypted message to Julian and put my phone down. Eleanor, be careful, it's hot. Ethan cooed as if speaking to a child. As I opened my mouth, the door was thrust open again. The sound of camera shutters exploded in the room. Ethan's head snapped towards the door, his expression instantly turning to one of mass terror. A young woman with a high ponytail stood there, her smile as sharp as a knife, her eyes full of a defiant spark. Sorry to interrupt, she said, her gaze fixed directly on me. Would you be open to a quick interview? Her eyes were a clear challenge. I'm just an intern trying to get a headline. Help me out, won't you? After all. Before she could finish, Ethan dropped the bowl. It shattered on the floor, splattering porridge everywhere. He rushed towards her, his voice harsh. Get out. Get out and don't bother my wife. He pushed her out of the room, carefully closing the door behind them, but the soundproofing in this VIP wing was not as good as he thought. The girl's voice, now laced with tears, drifted through the door. You told me you wanted me to have your baby. Why are you telling me to get rid of it now? You can't do this to me. Ethan's voice boomed, a desperate attempt to cover hers. Get lost now. This is a hospital, not a press junket. Who let you in here? Stop disturbing my wife. After a brief scuffle, the hallway fell silent. I knew that figure. I wouldn't mistake her. It was the woman from the video. The same defiant, almond-shaped eyes, so much like my own. A moment later, Ethan returned, his clothes rumpled. As he got closer, that familiar sweet perfume assaulted my senses again. Eleanor, I'm so sorry. Did she upset you? The security here is terrible. These reporters have no shame. I'm going to file a complaint and hire private guards. No one will bother you again. His eyes darted around, his words a clumsy attempt to test my reaction. I just smiled faintly. Seeing you lose your composure to protect me, I was very moved. Ethan let out a visible sigh of relief, and the look of adoration instantly returned to his eyes. I would do anything for you, Eleanor. When you're better, he continued, we'll go to the ribbon-cutting ceremony forevermore together. I'll let the whole world know you are my one and only treasure. Eleanor, I love you so, so much. I curled my lips into a smile. You couldn't get to the VIP floor without a keycard. His explanation was full of holes, but I didn't challenge it. Truth lies, it didn't seem to matter anymore. His phone buzzed incessantly. He looked distracted, and after a long feigned hesitation, he spoke carefully. Eleanor, how are you feeling? I have an urgent matter at the office, I might have to. I cut him off. Go. I'll be fine. The relief on his face was immediate. He promised to be back as soon as he was done. Okay. I nodded. He didn't return that night. The next morning a text arrived. Sorry, baby. Worked all night and passed out. I'll clean up and be there soon. But a new email had already arrived from my anonymous source. It was another video, this one filmed in his office. Ethan gripped the girl's, Chloe's, wrist, his face dark. What do you think you are? He snarled. I warned you. Stay away from her. You will always be nothing but her substitute. If you can't accept that, then get out. Chloe bit her lip, tears streaming down her face. Fine, she choked out. Use me and then throw me away. You saved me just so you could sleep with me and lie to me, is that it? Her thin frame trembled. Ethan's brow furrowed, a clear effort to suppress the pity in his eyes. She had beautiful eyes, so much like mine when I was young. Don't play the victim, he said, looking away from her. Eleanor is my line. I won't go soft. Take the money and get out of my life. The next second, Chloe scrambled onto the windowsill. Then I'll just die. I should have died back then anyway. Ethan's panic was real. He lunged forward, grabbing her around the waist and pulling her roughly into his arms. Chloe, are you insane? He yelled. The physical contact seemed to shatter his resolve. He grabbed her by the neck and crushed his mouth to hers in a brutal, possessive kiss. There, in front of the giant floor-to-ceiling window, they were a storm of motion, a frenzy of limbs and raw passion. Chloe's voice softened into a desperate plea. Don't leave me. I promise I'll be good. Please don't leave me, brother. Ethan was silent, his movements becoming a form of punishment, a savage and dominating conquest. At the very end of the video, Chloe turned her head slightly and smiled triumphantly at the hidden camera. Just then, a notification from Ethan popped up on my phone. He had a new profile picture. It was a photo of me from 7 years ago, my face in profile, the wind in my hair. I looked stubborn, defiant. But looking at it now, the girl in the picture looked more like the defiant Chloe in the video than the hollowed-out woman I had become. Ethan was always a man who paid attention to details. I turned off my phone, put on a coat and walked out of the room. Things that were never mine to begin with, I could let go of. My phone chimed. It was Julian. "I'm here." I pushed open the hospital's main doors, and the face from my memories came into view. When he saw me, his expression flickered with disbelief, his eyes wide. "Eleanor," he breathed, his voice trembling. It was as if we were back at the beginning. I hadn't packed a single thing. I just got into his car. As we pulled away from the hospital, I saw Ethan's sports car speeding towards the entrance, a massive bouquet of red roses sitting unguarded in the passenger seat. For no reason at all, I thought of Chloe's face. A girl as vibrant as a rose in full bloom. In the rearview mirror, my own reflection stared back. Eyes vacant, face pale and swollen, a specter of my former self. But I was not meant to wither. Before we reached the airport, Ethan's calls began. I didn't answer. A flood of text messages followed. "Eleanor, where did you go? Why didn't you tell me? Tell me where you are, I'll come get you. Who are you with?" The nurse said it was a middle-aged man. "Was it your uncle? Eleanor, did he hurt you again? Don't be afraid, I'm coming to save you." I offered no reply, just watched the messages stack up. I looked over at the man driving. Julian's jaw was tight, his profile resolute, the corners of his eyes tinged with red. "Ellie," he said, his voice thick with guilt. "I was wrong. I thought you were happy. I was so arrogant. Ellie, I didn't protect you." I stared at him. Before the videos, I had thought I was happy too. Ethan's love was a grand performance. He catered to my every whim, practically wore his love for me like a badge of honor. For 7 years I had believed I chose right. Celebrated the fateful day I ran away and met him. Back then I was trapped in my feelings for Julian, desperate for an escape. Ethan was a convenient miracle. I had gambled my entire inheritance, everything my parents left me, on him. He had knelt before me, his voice shaking with sincerity. "Eleanor, I won't let you lose." And now? The car sped on. Ethan's messages kept coming. "Eleanor, I know you're grieving. You might not be thinking clearly, but running away won't solve anything. As long as I'm with you, we can get through this." At that moment, a news alert flashed across my phone screen. Atop the Evermore Tower, a young woman was sitting on the ledge, her legs dangling over the edge. She was live-streaming, ignoring the growing crowd of police and firefighters below. She only said one thing: "If he doesn't choose me today, I'll jump." Ethan's messages stopped abruptly. On a strange impulse, I opened our chat and sent a single reply. "My flight leaves in half an hour. Meet me at the airport." The typing indicator pulsed for a long time. 10 minutes later, a reply came. "Eleanor, wait for me." I wasn't lying. His drive was less than 30 minutes. If he left now, he could make it. But I boarded the plane, and no new messages came. I opened Chloe's live stream. Amidst the chaos, I heard a familiar, frantic voice cry out, "Chloe, stop this. Come down. I choose you." My heart fell silent. The last pathetic flicker of hope was extinguished. In the chaotic video, I saw Chloe fall into a strong, waiting embrace. What was I even expecting? Before switching my phone to airplane mode, I sent one last message to the account with my face as its icon. "Ethan, let's get a divorce." I turned off the phone, closed my eyes, and felt a profound sense of peace. We landed in a different country the next morning. Julian had arranged for me to stay in a beautiful, secluded wellness retreat. He sat by my bed, gently brushing a stray strand of hair from my face. "Ellie, I was wrong," he said, his voice hoarse. "If I hadn't been so cowardly back then, if I hadn't let you go because I was afraid you'd suffer with me, maybe none of this would have happened. Can you forgive me?" I looked into his pained eyes, my thoughts a swirling mess. 7 years ago, on a snowy night, I had confessed my feelings to him. I was headstrong and stubborn, fighting for what I wanted. He had tried to reason with me. "Ellie, you're just used to relying on me. It isn't love. When you're older, you'll meet the right person." But I wouldn't listen. "Why not me, Julian? Why can't it be me? My parents had died when I was 15 and Julian, my father's protege and adopted son, had taken me in. He was the shadow side of my father's legitimate business empire, handling the things that couldn't see the light of day. For years my hatred for him slowly, strangely, morphed into something else under his quiet, stoic care. This ruthless man would buy me pink dresses and clumsily read me fairy tales on stormy nights. My youthful confession had been met with his fury. Eleanor, I'm your uncle. This is a question of morality. You're only 8 years older than me, I had retorted. And we're not related by blood. Why can't we be? I stared at him, desperate. I don't believe you don't love me. I remember the complex look in his eyes, the words he swallowed. Finally, his eyes red, he told me word by word. You're mistaken. I only feel guilt towards you. I'm repaying a debt to your father. I have never loved you. This twisted affection of yours, frankly, it disgusts me. I didn't see the crescents his nails were digging into his palms. Consumed by shame, I ran. And that one word, disgusts, echoed in my head for years. After I left, he had people watch over me from a distance. Occasionally, I'd feel his gaze, and I would deliberately act affectionate with Ethan, just to show him I didn't need him. Then I married Ethan. He came to the wedding, uninvited, and brought a lavish gift. I called him uncle, served him tea, and he calmly accepted, wishing me well. Be happy. Take care of yourself. If you ever need me, I'll always be there. Ethan had replied for me. Don't worry, uncle. I'll take care of Eleanor. She's my life. After a couple of years, Julian's visits stopped. I heard he moved abroad. I never reached out. The shame of our last encounter was too great. But now, with nowhere else to turn, he was the only one I could think of. When I showed him the videos, his face was a mask of fury, veins bulging on his temples. But when he spoke to me, his voice was a gentle whisper. Ellie, leave it to me. I'll handle everything. I never expected Ethan to find us so quickly. I was woken by shouting. I opened my eyes to see Julian's fist connect with Ethan's face. Ethan didn't dodge. He stood straight, staring defiantly at Julian. He spat out a mouthful of blood. You're her elder. I suppose I deserve that if I did something wrong, he said, his eyes then flicking to me. His tone turned mocking. But please remember, Eleanor is your niece. Overstepping your bounds won't do you any good. Her childish crush on you doesn't give you the right to do as you please now. Taking my wife without my consent. Don't you think you're the one in the wrong, Mr. Jiang? Julian didn't waste words. He simply punched Ethan's other cheek. This time Ethan's anger flared. I coughed lightly. His gaze shot to me, and his anger vanished. He rushed to my side. Eleanor, why did you leave with him? I was going to take time off to be with you. I know you're hurting. His rambling was a pathetic, last-ditch defense. I noticed the foundation caked on his neck, a clumsy attempt to hide something. It was so poorly applied it had smudged onto his collar. I couldn't help but laugh. He looked confused. You know, Ethan, I said softly, reaching out and touching the mark on his collar. You always touch your nose when you lie. Next time, don't use such a clumsy trick to hide the evidence of your passions. It's pointless. A secret affair must be so thrilling, right? Your words are harsh, but your body is so honest. You can't even lie to yourself, so how could you ever lie to anyone else? His pupils contracted in shock, his face twisting. Eleanor, you've misunderstood. What do you know? Everything, I said calmly. The color drained from his face and he crumpled to the floor. How? Eleanor, I can explain. He suddenly looked up, his eyes sharp with accusation. She told you, didn't she? Don't listen to her, Eleanor. I had my reasons. I closed my eyes. Whatever your reasons, I have no interest in hearing them. I've had the divorce papers drawn up. For the sake of our 7 years, Ethan, I'm giving you one last shred of dignity. He looked up at me, his eyes full of despair. Eleanor, I truly had no choice. From behind him, Julian's cold voice cut in. No choice about what? Ethan spun around, glaring at Julian. What right do you have to judge me? I was the one who healed her. Do you know she had severe depression after she left you? I was the one who painstakingly put her back together. And you, the cause of all her pain. What right do you have to question me? He was right about one thing. His words were a painful reminder. Pinned to the floor, Ethan continued to rant. I felt sorry for Chloe because she reminded me of you. Weak, pitiful, and alone. I was terrified of what might have happened to you if you hadn't met me. Just like with Chloe, if I hadn't stepped in, who knows where she would have ended up. How could I watch a version of you walk into the abyss? His logic was so twisted, so absurdly tragic. And the baby? I asked. Did you need to give her a child to comfort her too? He faltered. Eleanor, don't worry, I will punish her. She will never appear in our lives again. He started to cry, his voice breaking with manufactured grief. Losing our child was so traumatic for you. I couldn't bear to see you suffer again, so I cut him off. So you cheated, fell for someone else, and tried to have a child with her. All because of me? His face changed. Eleanor, if my methods were wrong, I'll change. I will change. I just shook my head. Don't bother. Instead of wasting your time here, you should check the news. A small bitter smile played on my lips. You were right about one thing. She is a lot like I used to be. She fights to the bitter end. His face went pale as he fumbled for his phone. He saw the headlines. #Ethan Grant find the father. #Ethan Grant the actor. #Ethan Grant cheats during pregnancy. His hands trembled so violently that he dropped his phone. I knew how much his public image meant to him. It wasn't that he loved me. He loved the image of the man who loved me. If he truly loved me, he wouldn't have been with another woman while I was enduring hell. He left with one final plea. I'll go back and handle the media. Once I've fixed everything, I'll come back for you. Eleanor, wait for me. Julian watched him go, his eyes dark. I knew what he was thinking, the revenge he was plotting. I didn't stop him. In that moment, everything became quiet. The love, the hate, the tangled mess of emotions. It all faded into nothing. I just wanted to sleep. A long, deep sleep and wake up having forgotten everything. 2 weeks later, Julian brought me news. Ethan's company stock had plummeted. At his disastrous press conference, Chloe had shown up, brandishing the preserved fetus in a jar. Now I've lost a child just like her, she had screamed, half crying, half laughing. Can you pity me now? Can you choose me now? In the video, Ethan's eyes were lifeless. Miss Liu, he said flatly, what you should be doing is hiring a lawyer and preparing for a lawsuit. The last I heard, he wouldn't sign the divorce papers. He followed me to California, claiming he would spend the rest of his life atoning for his sins. I fled, booking a ticket to Iceland without telling anyone, not even Julian. Somehow Ethan got my new number. Eleanor, I regret everything. He sobbed over the phone. I can't live without you. Please give me a chance to make it right. If you have an ounce of guilt left, I said coolly, sign the papers and disappear from my life forever. I hung up on his desperate sobs. 2 more years passed. He finally signed. I flew back to finalize the paperwork. He was a shadow of his former self, thin and aged, with a sense of decay about him. I felt nothing. With the papers signed, I flew to a new country and began a new life. I watched penguins in Antarctica and planted bananas in Malaysia. Discovered a world of things more worthy of pursuit than love. I made new friends, and I would sometimes share my adventures with Julian. In my 3rd year of traveling, I used the money from selling the Evermore Tower to build a school in a war-torn region. I handled everything myself, from the permits to the construction. On the day the school opened, my story was picked up by international media. A camera pointed at my sun-darkened, wind-chapped face. A reporter asked me how I felt. I smiled and said one thing. I am a human being, and I wish for world peace. For the first time in a long time, I was trending again. But the headline wasn't about being a man's accessory, or the half-mocking billion-dollar womb. This time the headline was simple, and it was all mine. Eleanor Jiang. A wish for world peace. There are things in this world I learned that are 1,000 times more important than love.